Everyone, this is Dr. Asim here. I'm the module leader of Essential Analysis for Business, and the module code is BUS 4086. As per your request, I have created some videos. These videos are going to help you in terms of your understanding the questions as well as some basic understanding on the basic formulas of Excel. So I have drafted the spreadsheet in here, which is with the formula practice and the actual data sheet, which you can download from the Moodle page. This is the exactly case study, which you can find it on the Moodle. You can download it, and then once you have downloaded it, you can open it up and you can see there are different columns in here, which is column A, B, C, D, E, and then carrying on to up to column O and P. Right. So to make it easy and to do the formulas, to do the practice, as I have done with you guys in the classroom today, I have picked up three different columns, which is column B, D, and K. And you can see that I have color coded them. For instance, age from cell B1 to B20, and similarly with cell D1 to D20. And similarly, I have done that with a cell K, which is K1 to K20. So once you have selected these values, copy them. How to copy it? You have to highlight it and then you press Control C. Once you have pressed Control C, you can go on to the next sheet and then you can paste it here, just like I have done it. So I got age, purchase frequency, and because this column we are going to create later. So in fact, when you copy these three columns and their data, it should look like in this way. Okay. Once you have done this, I have listed the formulas here, which is we have covered from week 1 to week 4. You can see that the first formula we have done is the sum. So before I go into these formulas, I just wanted to let you know that you should be aware because this is week 4 now. So by now you should be aware of the environment of Excel. For instance, this bold, italic, underline, and the font style, and we have got these kind of borders, colors, so text color, and then obviously the alignment as well, left alignment, center alignment, and all these things. You should be aware of these ones now. Right, so how are we going to use the formula? In Excel, any formula you start, you have to have the equal sign before you start executing the formula. So for instance, for sum, when we do the sum formula, we need to have the equal sign. But before that, we need to understand that what values we are going to sum up. In this case, we have the values for age, for instance, and the first value is in cell A2. How to find the cell reference number? You can click on any of the cells and then you can see that this value on the left corner changes. So for instance, we click on that one, this one, that one. So what I'm going to do is I click onto the first value of A, the cell reference number is A2, and the last reference number is A20. So A2 to A20. Similarly, it will have B2 to B20 and then C2 to C20. Once you understand that, we have the sum formula, how we write it. We need to write it equal. Remember, any formula in Excel need to be written starting with with the equal sign, and then you have to write sum. The time you write sum, you can press tab, and here you have to give the range of numbers. So for instance, in our, if the first value is 62, which is in A2, and then remember, we are going to use the colon and then the last cell reference number of this data set, which is A20. And then you have to close the bracket. Once you do that, then you have press enter. By the time you press enter, you will find the value of 914, which is the sum of all this data set. Okay, let me repeat quickly. Any formula in Excel start with equal sign, then you have to write the sum, and then obviously the start of the range and then the ending of the range. It's about the column. So the first number and the last number, cell reference number. So once you have done it, you get the answer. Similarly, when we apply for the subtract, we are going to have, for instance, we have A3 and AB, which is A3 and B3. These are two cell reference numbers we are going to utilize. So I'm going to say equal sign. I want to have A3 minus B3, A3 minus B3. So by the time I'm going to write the cell reference numbers, you can see they're highlighted here. So you can see on the left, they both are highlighted. And so you can re-verify that whether the whatever you have written in here is actually the kind of the cell references you wanted to um, apply the formulas on. So you got A3 minus B3, you press enter, and then you get an answer for 24. Similarly, same context, you have to apply the formula as equal, and then you have A3 multiplying by B3. Remember, these two cells are highlighted again. That's the answer. Similarly, how to do the divide equals, we have A3 divided by B3. And then when you press enter, you get the value of the division. So all these formulas like sum, subtract, multiply, divide are fairly simple and straightforward. When we get into the percentage, remember I gave an example in the classroom today. I said that if you have achieved 60 out of 100, so what percentage did you get? And you said that it is 60% because that is out of 100. So remember, any achieved number, obtained number divided by the total number, total score is actually help us in finding the percentage. So for instance, if you have got 25 marks out of 80, so how are you going to find that information? How are you going to find the percentage? So simply you have to divide the small number, which is 25, by the actual full number, whole number, which is 85. So here in this case, what I'm going to do is imagine this is my number 2 is actually my obtained number and 26 is my full number. For instance, in another way, I could say that I have had an exam and the total score was 26, but I obtained only 2 score. Okay, so how I'm going to find the percentage? So find the percentage is equal the achieved score, which is in my case is 2, divided by the total score, which is 26, and then you press enter and you get 7.69%. Okay. But in actual work, when you will be working on your Excel sheet, you might find that it won't appear in percentage. It will appear as a number like this. So if it appears like this, nothing to worry about. What you need to do is you need to right click on this. And when you right click on it, you get this window. Then you click on format cells, you get in there, and then instead of number, you can click on percentage and then press OK. And then this decimal number will switch into the percentage. Okay, so sum, subtract, multiply, divide, and percentage. I hope that there is no question about this, but still, if you got any questions, you can bring those questions to me during the seminar. In terms of minimum is that we have, for instance, this data set on the left, whether it is A data set or it is a B data set. We just wanted to find out which number is the shortest number in here, the minimum one. So how we're going to do that is we write equal and then we write min. The time you write min, bracket start, and then here you need to give the range of the data. So in this case, we have the data set as A2 colon A20, and then you close the bracket. So this is the data set range from A2 to A20. Find the minimum and then press enter. So it will automatically identify and retrieve the shortest, the smallest number out of this data set. Similarly, in maximum, it's the other way around. Equal, you write max and then bracket start. And then again, you have the data set from A2 to A20, and then you bracket close, and this is going to find you the maximum number, the biggest number of this data set, which is in this case is 73 out of this data set range. Then we have left. Remember, I mentioned that even in the last week and even today's actual class as well, that left is going to help you to identify the alphabets of any text from the left side. For instance, as I mentioned earlier, that for instance, my name is Majid, right? And I just want, if you look at this one, M-A-J, if you start reading this name from the left side, it's going to be M-A-J. So M is the first alphabet from the left, A is the second alphabet from the left, and J is the third alphabet. But if you start counting this name, reading this name from other way around, for instance, if you start reading from D is the first letter from the right side, E is the second letter, and then the other E is the third letter. So in terms of left, if we just write equal and just say left, bracket start. So this Majid is actually in the cell reference number for this Majid is I6. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write equal left bracket start, and I'm going to have I6. Remember, this encapsulation of Majid represents that this text is highlighted now. I6, comma, I want to find the 3 alphabets from the left. Enter, and then you can see that it is Majid there. Similarly, if I want to find something from the right side, I need to click and then right. Remember, any formula you have need to start with equal sign, and then in terms of right, I'm going to say I6, this is my text, and could you please find the 4 letters from the right counter? So press enter, and then you get Sajid in here. So this is, I wanted to let you know about some of the formulas here in which we got sum, subtract, multiply, divide, percentage, minimum, maximum, left and right. If I would like you to identify that what are the 4 letters of this alpha of this letter, of this word. So look at that. This is called automatic, right? And automatic, the first automatic word is written in 2, which is C2. So what I can do is I can actually go back. I can actually go back into my left, and I can change this to, instead of I6, I can have this C2, and I want to have the 3 letters from the left, and then you can see that it has got A, T, O. And if I would like to have 4 letters from this, I put 4 in here, and then it is going to be an auto here. So remember, we can actually identify the left and right, and we can also join these alphabets as well. But we will do that in the upcoming weeks. Okay. Now, next thing is about inserting new columns. But before we do that, I wanted to make sure that you're all okay with these formulas, which is sum, subtract, multiply, divide, percentage, minimum, maximum, left and right. So if you're okay with that, we are going to go ahead, which is the inserting new columns. I mentioned that if you want to create a space, like a new column between column B and C, never click on B to create the space between B and C. Always click onto the preceding column, which is in this case is C. Right click onto that one, and then you press insert. So you can see that insert actually works onto the previous column. So it will create a new column between B and C, which is in this case is that one, right? So if I'd want to delete it, you can right click on C just like that, and you can press delete in here. If you want to create a space between A and B, then you need to click on B and then right click, and then you call insert, and then you get a new column here. But since we do not require this column, so we are going to delete that, but we will need a column between B and C. So I'm going to insert that, and I'm going to give a name as new column. Okay, this is the new column now. And how are we going to do that? So inserting new columns, I believe that it is quite easier. You already have done that now. In terms of labels, we'll get back to it in a minute. But for the count, how does the count work? Count is a simple formula which helps us in counting the numbers from one place to another. For instance, I want to count that from this cell reference number, which is A2, to, let's say, A10, how many numbers are in there? So, well, because this is a small data set, so we can identify there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 numbers written. But imagine if you got thousands of records, and then you wanted to find out at a certain range that how many words are repeating in there, how many numbers are in there. So you would need a formula. And what formula? Count. Count will help us at that point. For instance, I just write in here as I'm just going to write, in here, equal. So I just write equal and then count. And the time you write count here, the next option is that I would like to count from A2 to actually A10. Okay. And then bracket close and then press enter. So there are 9 numbers written in this count. You can increase and decrease this value as well. And just imagine, just notice that what I'm going to do here is, remember, we have picked up from A2 to, I believe, A10, right? If I'm going to delete this number, which is 72 on cell A5, just concentrate on the count. So while I'm going to press delete here, this 9 is turning into 8. The reason is that the count only works on numbers. If there is any empty space, the count is going to leave that. It's going to skip it. It's not going to count that. Okay. I press Control Z because Control Z is going to bring back the data into its original shape. So here we go. So this is how count works. Then we have count if. Count if is to find what kind of elements we are looking into it. For instance, similarly, if I write equal and then I say count if, the time I write count if, remember there are multiple counts, which is count if and ifs. But here I'm explaining you count if without s. So you click onto that one. The time you press tab, you find two parameters. The first parameter is the range and then the criteria. The range in our case is, for instance, let's say this time I'm going to change the column name. I'm going to keep B2 to B20. And then what is my criteria? What I'm looking into this data set, what do I want to count? What I want Excel to count for me from B2 to B20. Imagine, because this is a purchase frequency, so there are numbers are repeating multiple times. So I just want to find out that how many times one is being repeating. So I just put 1 here, bracket close and enter. So it tells me that 1 repeated 6 times. Okay. If I go back into this one, I do not want 1. Actually, I wanted to find how many times 4 repeated. I press 4 and then 3 times this 4 is repeated. Okay, I hope this makes sense to you guys. And then we move on to the if statement. How does if statement work? Remember, guys, I have explained all of you in various sessions that if statement is a logical statement. It helps us in identifying that whether if there is a condition, we have set up a condition on a data, then how that can, once that condition is met, what is going to happen next. And I have given several examples in the classroom. But in this case, what I'm going to do is, if you look at the column B, you can see that how many times this 1, 2, and 4, 3 has been repeating throughout till the 20 records. Since we have a smaller data set here, but in actual work, we have 500 records, and out of 500, counting that how many ones are in there is very, very difficult. So for these, we need to have this if formula in here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to write equal if, and remember the time you write if, you have a bracket start. There are 3 parameters to this if. The first parameter, I have explained that in the lesson today, the first parameter is the logical test. So for instance, I just say that B1, which is in this case, B1 is less than equal to 3. If B1 is less than equal to 3, then what shall Excel do? Excel should say lower. If B1 is smaller than equal to 3, then in this new column at this place, the Excel should execute word lower. So bracket close, and I'm going to press enter. Since 1 is less than 3, it is going to have false in here. Okay. Less than equal to 3 if B1. Yeah, oh, sorry, B1. It shouldn't be B1. It should be B2. Sorry, my mistake. B2, because B1 is actually the metadata, which is just the word, but B2 is the number which we wanted to apply this algorithm on. You press enter and you find lower in here. What I explained that to you was that usually this plus sign is quite thick in here, but when you keep your mouse in here, it turns into black. The time it turns into black, you double click in here, and then you can see that all this formula is applied throughout the data until the end. But then this brings to another question. For instance, I can see that those numbers which are lower than 3 or equal, I can see the lower label there. But what about this false? It means these numbers are bigger than 3. So what we need to do is we need to get back onto the first formula where we applied, and then we say that if B2 is less than 3, then lower. Otherwise, you need to print higher. Okay, you need to print higher and press enter. The time you press enter, you will need to double click that to reapply on the rest of the data. And here we go. So you can actually find lower and higher how many people have got a higher frequency, purchasing frequency, more than 3, and then how many people have got low frequency of buying of purchasing, which is we got that lower in here. So if you look at this one, this is all if statement. Remember guys, if statement has got 3 parameters, which you need to keep that in mind. Again, it's a 3 parameters. The first parameter is the logical test. The second parameter is if that logical test is meeting, is true, then this lower should print. Otherwise, if it doesn't meet, then higher should be printed in here, which is working here now. So I hope this if statement is clear to you guys, but if you've still got any questions about this, please bring these ones during the seminar sessions. Now we have this pivot table here. Right. Um, the name suggests that it is going to create a table for us, but what is the purpose of the pivot table? Sometimes the data is not organized or denormalized, so we need to normalize it. We need to put that into the right context so we can understand the information. So we have an opportunity, an option here in Excel to draw the pivot tables. Okay. Right from the first week till now, I have been telling you and I've been showing you how pivot table works, but I just wanted to refresh that knowledge. And how we do that, we need to come back into this data set. Actually, before that, what I wanted to tell you was that, you know, this lower and higher, this is actually your labels, okay? These are your labels. So we have figured out this information. So I just wanted to let you know that. So in terms of the pivot table, you go back in your data, make sure that you click anywhere in the data. Just once you click, then you go into the insert, and then there is an option. The time you keep your mouse over it, you find out that it says easily arrange and summarize complex data in a pivot table. Means this pivot table helps you in summarizing and arranging the complex data. How we do that? Let's click onto this one. The time you click and then you get this option in here, make sure there is something written in here next to the data, and then new worksheet is clicked on, and then you click here, okay, and this is what you see on the screen. Right. Once you have got the screen, remember all these things on the right side, which is the customer ID, age, city, and frequency, and a couple of other columns. They're all from here, which is the customer ID, age, city. So all these columns have been captured in pivot table here. So what we need to do is now we need to start playing with the pivot table. So what I'm going to do now is, for instance, I want to find out that out of this data set, out of all this data, how many cities been repeating. So I don't know, because 500 customers is a huge data. So human eye is not possible. So I need to find the distinctive names of these cities. So what I would do is I'll go back into the sheet. I will get this city, because we wanted to find the distinctive cities. So you click onto city, drag and drop in the rows. So the time you do that, on the left, you can find all your city names distinctively have been mentioned in here. So this is the first thing pivot table has done for us, automatically identified the names of the cities and how many cities are in there. It is Birmingham, Glasgow, Leeds, London, Manchester, means these are the 5 cities in there. And now the next thing is we wanted to see that how the customers belong to these cities are actually paying towards their insurance cost. So if you look at this one, this insurance cost, you click drag and drop and you put that into the values here. So here we go. So we have got this Birmingham is, the people living in Birmingham are paying 7,000, or actually 72,807 and all that, and similarly other cities. But this is the sum. If you notice, the name of the column is sum of the insurance, but the good thing is we can change that. So you go back into this. If you look at the right values, you see this small button there. You click onto this one and then you get into value field setting, click, and then you see this small option button here. So you see actually option window here. So instead of sum, you can click on average and then you click OK. So you can see that what is the average spending of Birmingham, because some people might be paying higher, some people might be paying lower. So, but we wanted to find the average. So to find the average, we simply need to click onto this option there. Once you click value field settings and then you click on average, and that's okay. So once you have gathered this information, the next thing is you can go into insert again at the top, and then you go back into the pivot table, pivot chart, sorry, not pivot table, pivot chart. You click onto that one, click on pivot chart again, and then here you go. This is what you figured out, the information here. Okay. And when you click onto this one, here is the graph for you. This graph is telling you that which city on average is paying less and which city is paying the higher. So the results are absolutely conveniently readable. So we can see that the lead is paying less, and then whereas in Birmingham, it is paying the highest insurance cost overall. So guys, this is what I just wanted to explain that to you today. And in terms of the VLOOKUP, we will do that during the seminar. I just wanted to make sure that you have refresher knowledge about this pivot table and all that. But before I switch this off, I just wanted to let you know that we have covered during this video is sum, subtract, multiply, divide, percentage, minimum, maximum, left, right, and then we have inserting new columns, label, count, count if, and pivot table. The only thing got left is the VLOOKUP, which we will be covering during the seminar sessions. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I think it's going to be very helpful in covering your basic understanding of your Excel, and it will help you in completing your questions as well. So thank you very much for being with me, and I will be getting back to you with a couple of more videos about the assessment questions in the upcoming weeks. Thank you very much, and take care of yourself.